Martin Luther, 1483 to 1546, was the son of a copper miner from Eisleben in Saxony. Luther later described himself as a tough Saxon of peasant blood. Soon after his birth, the family moved to Mansfeld, the center of Germany's mining industry, where Luther's father, Hans, eventually became joint owner of 6 mining shafts and 2 smelting furnaces, which raised the family's quality of life to new heights of prosperity. It was a large family by Western standards of today. By 1505, Hans had 4 sons and 4 daughters, Martin being the second son. Influenced by modern psychology, many biographers of Luther have tried to trace all kinds of aspects of the reformer's adult personality to his childhood relationship with his father. But, as others have pointed out, this seems a dubious procedure, since our knowledge of Luther's childhood comes exclusively from his own statements, relatively few in number, made 30 or 40 years later. Probably the most we can safely say is that there was an emotional tension between a stern father and a sensitive son, which may have intensified the young Luther's spiritual insecurity and quest for the assurance of salvation. The future reformer grew up in a peasant society, where the everyday reality of the supernatural was taken very seriously. Events that educated people today think of as natural were then routinely ascribed to evil spirits, for instance, thunder and lightning. Certain places were also felt to be the home of dark powers. Luther never outgrew this outlook. In his maturity, he said, "Many regions are inhabited by devils. Prussia is full of them, and Lapland is full of witches. In my native country, on the top of a high mountain called the Pubelsberg, is a lake in which, if you throw a stone, a tempest will arise over the whole region, because the waters are the abode of captive demons." Luther's struggles with Satan were given a graphic power by this demon-haunted view of the world. It was offset, though, by a belief in supernatural forces of good, saints and angels, the power of God channeled through the church. Luther was educated at the town school in Mansfeld, and was then sent at the age of 12 to a boarding school in Magdeburg, where he spent a year before moving to a different school in Eisenach. We know very little of these years. In 1501, aged 18, he went to the University of Erfurt, central Germany, intending to become a lawyer in obedience to his father's wishes. Here he studied the trivium, grammar, rhetoric, and logic, then the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy, the traditional form of medieval education. Again, we know little of Luther's university life, but he was a good student. He graduated early in 1505, coming second in a class of 17. The plan was that he should then study for a further 2 years at Erfurt in order to qualify as a lawyer. However, after only a month of legal studies, young Luther suddenly forsook university life, renounced the world, and joined the Augustinian order of friars in Erfurt. This was in the face of angry opposition from his father. "Have you never heard of God's command to honor your father and mother?" Hans raged at Martin. But something infinitely more crucial than obeying his father had taken possession of the youthful law student. The death of a school friend and a narrow escape from a bolt of lightning during a storm had awakened in Luther an overwhelming passion for religion and the salvation of his own soul. It seems likely that he had for some time been disturbed by a growing sense of his own sinfulness and a corresponding fear of divine judgment. The terrifying experience of the lightning bolt very probably pushed his mind across a boundary towards which it had already been moving, the decision to join a religious order. In medieval Catholic Europe, the most popular way of increasing one's chances of salvation was to become a monk or a nun. So, at the age of 22, Martin Luther shook the world's dust from his feet, took religious vows, became an Augustinian friar, and plunged himself into the study of theology at Erfurt University.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.